Hi, so everybody, I want to pick up where I left off with osteoarthritis, preventing and healing without drugs. Peter Bales, MD, MHSA. So, chapter 13 is new genetic research is unraveling the mysteries of osteoarthritis, the effects of nutrition on our genes. This is a 2008 book. But before we hit that, I want to show you this cool book I got at the Episcopalian book sale, Molecules by Theodore Gray. And what I found was this cool diagram that helps visualize some of the stuff Peter Bales talks about in the osteoarthritis book. So aspirin, ibuprofen, and related painkillers work by turning down the volume on the mechanism that creates chemicals called prostaglandins. Prostaglandins increase the tendency of pain receptors to generate pain signals. These drugs can't stop pain entirely, but they decrease the overall sensitivity of the pain-generating mechanism. Okay, local anesthetics. A variety of drugs known as local anesthetics, including lidocaine, benzocaine, cocaine, ziconotide, I don't know how you say that, ziconotide, can be applied on the skin, under it, or into the spinal column to directly block nerve transmission, cutting pain off in the most direct way possible. Their action is analogous to cutting a telephone wire. No wire, no signal, no pain. Some painkillers, for example, gabapentin, as well as alcohol, turn down the volume on the pain-generating mechanism directly, increasing the threshold above which pain receptors will generate their unpleasant signals. Opioids like cocaine can be used as topical anesthetic, but when diffused throughout the brain after eating or injection into the bloodstream, they work in a very different way, turning up the volume of the dopamine mechanism, which signals the pain mechanism to turn down its volume. So we have opioids, piperidines, pain inhibition, gabapentin alcohol modulator, pain sensitization, local anesthetics, NSAIDs, which are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So that's still a lot to take in, but think about that for a minute. Okay, now we're on to new genetic research is unraveling the mysteries of osteoarthritis. The effects of nutrition on our genes. Nutrition is an important environmental factor that affects our genes by mechanisms currently being unraveled by scientists. Our nutrition is able to change the makeup of our DNA in a process called epigenetic modification. This is page 141. In epigenetic modification, chemical changes such as methylation occur in segments of DNA that influence the adjacent genes to be either turned off or turned on. Therefore, this is equivalent to changing our genetic makeup. This powerful concept is central to the mechanisms by which our nutrition can change our DNA. Some genes are activated and others are deactivated by chemical changes in their sequence triggered by our diet. One such chemical change that occurs is called methylation. The addition of simple compounds composed of carbon and hydrogen, called methyl groups, to our DNA adjacent certain genes can lead to these genes being either activated or not. Increased inflammation and advanced glycation end products generated by poor diets change the expression of genes by chemically modifying them. This very powerful concept explains how the environment can shape our genetic makeup. This genetic modification of our DNA caused by nutritional choices we make has an effect on our joint cartilage. New research is showing that poor nutrition and environmental toxins cause changes in our DNA that are passed on to our children. Okay. The inflammatory compounds such as IL-1 and TNF-alpha, which we discussed previously, are able to regulate the function of the gene in cartilage cells that codes for the cartilage-degrading MMPs. In obesity, the fat cells in the waist become enlarged and produce these inflammatory compounds. These in turn increase the production of MMPs by cartilage cells, leading to the breakdown of cartilage and osteoarthritis. The gene stimulation occurs by the intermediate signal relay station compounds such as NFKB and MAPK found in our cells. When these signal relay stations become activated, they stimulate the production of the MMP genes and other genes that further increase the inflammatory environment of the cartilage cells. They also turn on suicide genes, in quotation marks, which release toxic chemicals that kill the cartilage cell. The result is cartilage breakdown and osteoarthritis. Diet affects cartilage destruction in the joints. There is significant research to support the idea that the diet we eat influences the amount of cartilage degradation that occurs in our joints. It does this by increasing the activity of the genes in cartilage cells that break down cartilage. These gene codes for such substances as MMP13, ADAMTS4, and 5-LOX. As you recall, MMPs, or matrix metalloproteinases, are proteases which cleave cartilage. ADAMTS is a group of proteases which, like the MMPs, breaks down cartilage. New research is identifying more active substances called cytokines and chemokines, which are involved in the development of osteoarthritis. The body's inflammation and production of AGEs is increased when we consume an unhealthy diet of saturated and trans fats, as well as sugar and other empty calorie carbohydrates. These inflammatory products accumulate in our joints and cause cartilage damage. Gene therapy. New research is isolating enzymes responsible for cartilage destruction and working backward to identify which genes in the DNA sequence produce them. In osteoarthritis, aggrecan is broken down by a group of enzymes called aggrecanases. They belong to the ADAMTS family of cartilage-degrading enzymes. ADAMTS5 is one such aggrecanase enzyme. Gene therapy uses chemical compounds that target the ADAMTS5 gene and shut it down. This can be used as a strategy to control the progressive cartilage deterioration that occurs in osteoarthritis. Another avenue in gene therapy research looks at transferring desirable genes to osteoarthritic cartilage cells where they can offset the damage done by destructive genes. These new genes would then code for compounds that build up the cartilage matrix, as well as compounds that inhibit its breakdown, such as IL-1RA, discussed below. For instance, it is known that the chemical compound IL-1 is very active in cartilage destruction. So research is focusing on transferring the gene that codes for IL-1 receptor antagonist, IL-1RA, into osteoarthritic cartilage cells. This receptor would then block the effects of IL-1, thus helping to control the destructive phase of osteoarthritis. Genes are transferred into cells using a select group of safe viruses. As we recall, viruses are very common in causing human disease. For instance, the common cold is caused by a class of viruses known as rhinoviruses. The virus is a non-living protein and DNA unit that infects cells and becomes incorporated into our DNA. There they express their own DNA, leading to disease. These specially engineered safe viruses are able to enter cartilage cells and transfer the human gene they carry to our DNA. In this way, a type of gene surgery is performed in which we can insert a missing or malfunctioning gene into an individual's DNA. Oh, weird. Wow. Okay, in the case of our efforts to block IL-1, when the virus infects the cartilage cell, it starts producing multiple copies of the IL-1 blocking agent. This goes to work in neutralizing the effects of IL-1. As the technologies to effectively perform this type of gene surgery become more sophisticated, gene therapy will be an important medical treatment. Safe viruses are virus particles that have been chemically modified so that they cannot infect a cell as they normally do. They can also produce a large number of duplicate viruses. The virus itself is inactive and poses no threat. Another promising research endeavor is identifying markers for osteoarthritis that can be detected early in the course of the disease, offering hope of being able to alter its course. Examples of such markers include small breakdown fragments of cartilage matrix called cartilage oligomeric matrix protein, COMP. Another evolving marker is blood and urine pentosidine. Pentosidine is an advanced glycation end product that has been found to accumulate in joint cartilage and osteoarthritis, causing the yellowish appearance of old and degenerative cartilage. PPAR receptors and inflammation. New research is shedding light on how specific nutrients can be used to treat metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. The development of metabolic syndrome in the body leads to increased production of fatty acids that circulate in the blood and increased TNF alpha production. These in turn activate the NF-κB signal relay intermediate and modify the insulin receptors in cells, resulting in insulin resistance. At the molecular level, metabolic syndrome can be treated by dietary and lifestyle modification. This is done through the activation of the PPAR in cells, which decrease inflammation. Stimulation of PPAR alpha receptors clears fatty acids from the blood. Stimulation of the PPAR gamma receptors leads to the formation of smaller fat cells, which are less inflamed. As discussed earlier, it is the oversized fat cells in the waists of obese people that wreak all the havoc of inflammation and disease in their bodies. Beneficial nutrients that activate PPAR receptors. Okay, hold up. What is all this? PPAR receptors. Okay. To clear the fatty acids from the blood. Include soy proteins, licorice, oh cool, cinnamon, ginseng, a number of beneficial antioxidant compounds found in plants. Soy plant estrogens have also been shown to improve blood sugar levels in the body. EPA, the active ingredient found in fish oils, acts through PPAR receptors to stimulate fat breakdown and to improve the sensitivity of insulin. Fibronectin fragments. Another emerging area of research in osteoarthritis involves the study of fibronectin fragments. These are important in triggering cartilage breakdown, acting to increase inflammatory cytokines and MMPs. They are overproduced in osteoarthritis. Cartilage cells that are stimulated by fibronectin fragments act through the NF-κB mediator to trigger increased inflammation in joints. Researchers are looking at methods to block NF-κB and stimulate PPAR alpha and PPAR gamma receptors as strategies to fight osteoarthritis. Conclusions. Gene therapy is an exciting new technology which transfers desirable genes into diseased cartilage cells to combat the osteoarthritic process. Beneficial amounts which stimulate PPAR receptors can be used to treat metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and are part of the nutritional armamentarium to combat osteoarthritis. What a cool word. I've never seen that before. Nutritional armamentarium? I think it just means like armory, basically, or tool chest, armamentarium. PPAR alpha and PPAR gamma receptor activation is a major way healthful nutrients lower inflammation in our bodies. NF-κB is an important communicator in our environment and our nutritional habits to our genes. It is a cellular mechanism by which the environment interacts with our genetic predispositions to lead to either health or disease. Activation of PPAR receptors through good nutrition blocks the NF-κB receptors, which is the culprit in triggering inflammation pathways in the body. Okay, so the next chapter, 14, is beneficial nutrients for joints. I have to check the stove, so I will be right back.
Anytime I read a report about new aggression from
Okay, so we're back on the osteoarthritis book by Peter Bales. Beneficial nutrients for joints. Osteoarthritis can be attacked by a number of nutritional approaches that have been shown to have the following beneficial effects: lowering systemic inflammation and oxidative stress, promoting cartilage repair, promoting proper hormone balance, directly affecting gene expression in cartilage cells, lowering the formation of advanced glycation end products, vitamins and minerals. A major cause of osteoarthritic cartilage damage is the generation of oxygen-free radicals in joints as a result of increased oxidative stress. To combat this stress, our major detoxifying enzymes, such as catalase and glutathione peroxidase, must be functioning properly. If they are malfunctioning or are overwhelmed because they are processing excessive amounts of toxins, they cannot properly maintain joint health. Vitamins and minerals are important because they act as helpers or cofactors for these detoxifying enzymes. Some of the most important vitamins and minerals needed to maintain optimum joint health are vitamin C, vitamin E, glutathione, selenium, and beta carotene. Glutathione peroxidase is one of the body's major detoxifying enzymes. It is a free radical scavenger. For it to function normally and rid the cell of harmful toxins, adequate levels of the important mineral selenium are needed in the diet. Zinc and copper are important helpers for the proper functioning of the important detoxifying enzyme superoxide dismutase. Sadly, the American diet is too low in essential fatty acids, essential minerals such as magnesium, zinc, and selenium, as well as vitamins and antioxidants. It is necessary then for most of us to supplement our diets with a daily intake of multiminerals and multivitamins in order to maintain joint health. I will be discussing the use of supplements in greater detail in chapters 15 and 16, but some of the important ones for osteoarthritis include glucosamine, chondroitin, SAMe, EPA, DHA, omega-3 fats found in fish oils, vitamin C, D, E, B, alpha-lipoic acid, and coenzyme Q10. Deficiency of the B complex vitamin folate, folic acid, is very common in the diets of people who do not eat large amounts of fruits and vegetables. Double-blind studies have shown that arthritic patients taking folate supplements along with anti-inflammatory medication had reduced pain compared to those taking anti-inflammatories alone. Cool. Folate, folic acid. Okay. SMP differences in the genes cause some people to be more sensitive to nutritional deficiencies. Single nucleotide polymorphisms result in individuals whose enzyme systems are not as powerful as those of others, resulting in the development of diseases. In these susceptible people, the gene coding for certain detoxifying enzymes have SNP variations that lead to the formation of enzymes that are less functional and less able to interact with their helpers, usually vitamins or minerals. Single nucleotide polymorphisms. Okay. These vitamin and mineral helpers must be obtained from the diet, so a diet that is lacking in these helpers will result in malfunctioning of their detoxification enzymes. The SNP variations make the detoxification enzymes less able to interact with the vitamin and mineral helpers. Since we cannot do anything about the specific SNPs in our genetic code, the way to correct this is to give higher doses of the minerals and vitamins to compensate for the fact that the enzyme is not as efficient in interacting with them. By giving enough of the vitamin or mineral necessary for the enzyme to function normally, we can override the defect in the enzyme. This is the rationale behind the recommendation of nutritional and genetic scientists to take more daily vitamins and minerals than what is normally recommended. These larger doses are needed to restore metabolic balance. High ORAC foods fight oxidant stress. An important way to pick good foods is to eat by looking at the oxygen radical absorbent capacity, ORAC, value of the food. ORAC refers to the fact that a food contains in it a valuable antioxidants that are able to neutralize oxygen-free radicals in the body. Examples of such foods include blueberries, green and other colorful vegetables, tomatoes containing the powerful antioxidant lycopene, and strawberries, among others. The higher the ORAC value, the better, because high ORAC foods are the best at absorbing damaging free radicals in our cells. Foods with a high ORAC value have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that promote good health. The average person in the United States eats 1,800 ORAC units per day. In people with degenerative diseases such as osteoarthritis, up to 3 or 4 times that amount is needed per day to neutralize excessive free radicals and other antioxidants. Wow! High ORAC foods include the colorful plants and vegetables that are full of antioxidants. For example, 1 cup of blueberries has an ORAC value of 3,240 units. 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon has 2,675 units. 1 apple has 300 units, and 1 green tea bag has 1,200 units. So basically, drench your body in antioxidants if you have osteoarthritis. Like a lot. Niacinamide and osteoarthritis. In the 1930s and 40s, Dr. William Kaufman was a pioneer in treating osteoarthritic patients with nutritional supplements. Yay! He reported good results in treating patients with large doses of niacinamide, a form of vitamin B3. Niacinamide in large doses proved to have anti-inflammatory properties. Today we know that B-complex vitamins are important in decreasing inflammation in the body by lowering levels of homocysteine, an inflammatory compound that has been shown to be as important, if not more so, as cholesterol in leading to heart attacks. In 1996, researchers were able to validate Kaufman's results. In a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, niacinamide was given to patients for 3 months. The result was a decrease of the inflammatory blood substance, erythrocyte sedimentation rate, ESR, and patients who were already taking anti-inflammatory drugs were able to decrease the dosage taken. ESR is a protein found in blood that is found to be increased in people who have elevated inflammation in their body. These patients were also shown to have improved mobility and function in their joints. So just B3. Okay. Short-term studies do not show the beneficial effects of nutrients. When studying the effects of nutrients on diseases, it is important to treat patients for a long period of time in order to see positive effects. Because they change the basic underlying chemical imbalances that cause disease, nutrients must be given for long periods of time to be beneficial. Drugs, on the other hand, tend to act much more quickly, often requiring only minutes or hours to work. This characteristic of drugs makes them more favorable in showing positive results when used in short-term scientific studies. When looking at the effects of non-steroidal drugs versus the nutraceuticals chondroitin and glucosamine, wow, which I will be discussing in chapter 15, research shows that drugs relieve the pain of osteoarthritis much more quickly than glucosamine and chondroitin. Glucosamine and chondroitin are 2 natural substances that normally belong in our joint cartilage. They are used to build new cartilage, and because osteoarthritis results in cartilage being lost in the joints, researchers have found that supplementing them in the diet can improve the pain and other symptoms of osteoarthritis. In a short-term study, about 6 to 12 weeks, research may not be able to demonstrate a positive effect by glucosamine and chondroitin because in that short interval, they have not yet shown their beneficial effects. They must be given a long time, often months to years, in order to reverse the damage of our osteoarthritis. Yay! While non-steroidal drugs tend to show earlier positive results than nutraceuticals in terms of pain relief, it is important to realize that none of the drugs thus far developed to treat osteoarthritis has ever been shown to alter the course of arthritis or to modify the underlying chemical imbalances causing this disease. They only treat the symptom, pain. In saying this, I do not want to minimize the pain relief people have found using anti-inflammatory drugs through the years. It has been considerable. The nutraceuticals I will be discussing, on the other hand, have been scientifically shown in many cases to heal and reverse osteoarthritis with long-term use. Okay, that's page 151. Nutritional substances that have been traditionally used in the treatment of osteoarthritis and have shown benefits in pain relief and decreasing inflammation include boswellic acids, and I believe that is boswellia. I believe that's related to frankincense or the oils or something. Topical capsaicin, so that's like topical cayenne pepper, hot peppers. Acetylmyristoliate, CMO. Methyl sulfonylmethane, MSM. I love it. Topical menthol, good. Okay. Phytodolor, I don't know that. SAM-E, S-adenosylmethionine, shark cartilage, stinging nettle, white willow, which aspirin, okay, turmeric, found in curcumin, and green tea bioflavonoids, antioxidants found in green tea. Hey, green tea for pain relief? Wow, I will be discussing some of these in more detail in chapter 15. Ways to combat metabolic syndrome. Figure 14.1. Eat nutritious food, avoiding sugar and empty calorie foods. Lose weight, especially around the waist. Exercise, including aerobic and strength training. Take important nutritional supplements: N-acetylcysteine, omega-3 fats, fish oils, coenzyme Q10, chromium picolinate, alpha-lipoic acid, acetyl L-carnitine, vitamin C, B-complex vitamins, vitamin E. DNA, nutrition, and oxidative stress. Degenerative diseases such as osteoarthritis, which are caused by a highly inflammatory and oxidative stress environment, require optimal nutrition high in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Researchers have shown that even small deficiencies in folate, vitamin B12, niacin, and zinc result in an increase in spontaneous DNA defects. The DNA damage resulting from increased oxidative stress activates harmful genes and can lead to diseases such as cancer. The standard American diet, which is low in fruits and vegetables, leads to nutrient deficiencies that increase oxidative stress and promote the occurrence of degenerative diseases and cancers. Conclusions. Recent research is showing how nutrients interact directly with our DNA and influence which genes are turned on and off. Nutrients are able to interact with cells and change their chemical and electrical states. Inflammatory foods, which create an acidic cellular environment, activate the NF-κB signal messenger, which then activates inflammatory genes and increases the overall inflammation in the body. During states of increased oxidative stress, the body's defenses, in the form of detoxifying enzymes and their vitamin and mineral helper cofactors, become overwhelmed and toxic free radicals accumulate. Inadequate levels of vitamin C, E, and other antioxidant nutrients leads to such a state of increased oxidative stress and are a risk factor in the development of degenerative diseases. Researchers have shown that people with higher intakes of vitamin C, E, and A had slower progression of osteoarthritis of their knee than did people not taking these antioxidants. Woohoo! Go vitamin A, C, and E. Okay. Vitamins and minerals act as important helpers, i.e. cofactors, for the important detoxification enzyme systems. SMP variation of the detoxification enzymes requires that we obtain adequate levels of vitamins and minerals through our diet and with the use of supplements in order to optimize the function of the detox enzymes. Important supplements for osteoarthritis include glucosamine, chondroitin, SAM-E, EPA, and DHA, omega-3 fats found in fish oils, vitamin C, D, E, and B, alpha-lipoic acid, and coenzyme Q10. High ORAC foods such as berries and colorful vegetables absorbing damaging free radicals from the body. Whew, cool. Okay, we're at 30 minutes almost. So the next chapter is the nutraceutical arsenal needed to combat osteoarthritis. I need a break. I'm worn out. I could keep going. Do you want me to keep going or not, chat person? Should I keep going? Let's see. I'll keep going. The nutraceutical arsenal needed to combat osteoarthritis. Chapter 15, page 155 of Osteoarthritis by Peter Bales. Well, I'm doing it for the people. I'll be back later. I'm starving. I'll admit it. I'm starving. I had a busy day. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Thank you for being there. I can't wait to read the rest. Okay, so we're basically really only have 45 pages to go plus some glossary.